attention span is cooked, and you know it too. Every single focus video you have ever watched has told you the same thing. Put your phone in another room. Disconnect your Wi-Fi. Use an app blocker. Create a distraction-free environment. And look, I get it. I genuinely get why that advice exists, but I also think it's some of the most out-of-touch, useless shit that has ever been said about productivity on the internet, because it assumes that your phone is just a distraction, a thing you need to get away from. But your phone is also how you study. It's how you research. It's how you communicate with everyone you work with. It's probably how you're watching this video right now. One thing I've realized is that the actual problem with our focus has nothing to do with our phone or any other device, to be honest. The problem is something else, and it's happening inside your brain. Once I show you what it actually is, you'll realize why most of the increase your focus advice never actually worked for you. Your dopamine system has been completely wrecked. I mean, it has been calibrated to expect the kind of stimulation that literally did not exist 20 years ago. Every notification, every scroll, every autoplay video is a tiny hit, and your brain has adjusted its baseline to expect that level of input constantly. So when you sit down to do something that requires actual sustained thinking, which by definition is slower and less stimulating than your phone, your brain just goes, nope, this isn't worth it, and it starts looking for an exit. And this is where the spiral starts. You scroll for a bit before starting work. Not for long, just a little bit, just to ease into the day. Then you sit down and you can't focus. Then you feel like you need something to eat, even though you're not actually hungry. Then you eat way too much because your dopamine is already crashed, and food is the easiest way to get a quick hit of it back. Then you feel lethargic and slow, and now you definitely can't work. And then you scroll again, because at that point nothing else feels doable. I know this spiral because I ran it intentionally on myself for 2 weeks just to see what would happen, and it was genuinely one of the worst 2 weeks of my life. Step 1. So the first step is about what happens before you ever sit down to work. The window between waking up and starting to do what you're supposed to do is where your entire day gets decided. When you choose your mobile phone before doing anything meaningful, you are basically increasing the difficulty level of your entire day. Again, it's not the phone, but what you are doing with it. The reason why I said that it makes your day hard is that you have just given your brain the most stimulating thing it's going to experience all morning. Now, everything that comes after that, including the work you actually need to do or studying for an important exam or anything important for you, is going to feel dull and slow and not worth doing. And I want to be clear here, because I know someone is going to say, but I only check my phone for like 10 minutes in the morning. 10 minutes of scrolling first thing in the morning is enough to torch your baseline for hours, because it's just hinting to your brain what kind of stimulation it can expect throughout the day. So it doesn't matter how long you use it. Think of it like this. If you tell a kid to play as many games as possible, but only for 30 minutes, then make them sit down to study something boring, they won't do it unless someone forces them. But as an adult, nobody's gonna make you. So what happens? You dodge anything that feels even a little hard. So what do you actually do instead? You protect the first hour of your day like it's the most valuable thing you own. What you do in that first hour sets your dopamine baseline for the rest of the day. And if you can keep that baseline low before you start working, then suddenly the work doesn't feel as boring by comparison, because your brain hasn't been promised something better yet. Go to the gym, eat something, take a shower, walk somewhere. Anything that doesn't involve a screen. Again, the screen is not your enemy, but what you are consuming is. Also, another pattern which you have probably noticed is that, let's say you did everything perfectly and you worked for 90 minutes straight or even more, but then you decide to take a break and suddenly you can't get back to it. That's because when you stop doing something hard, you feel like you deserve a break. But instead of resting, you chase a dopamine spike. It could be porn, scrolling, or wasting hours on Discord. After that, getting back feels almost impossible. You convince yourself you've done enough, start procrastinating, and most of the time the whole day is gone. Even if you return, unless there's real urgency, focus feels like a grind, and the effort is nowhere near 100%. Step 2. Protecting your momentum. Everyone is obsessed with concentration techniques and app blockers and timer methods that they completely miss the more obvious question, which is, why do some people never seem to struggle with focus at all? And the answer is almost never that they have more discipline or a better morning routine. It's that they're obsessed with what they're working on. And obsession is a completely different thing from motivation or discipline, because motivation runs out and discipline require effort. But with obsession, it's just totally different. In most of the cases, you will be able to finish the things which you are obsessed with, even if you are not disciplined. I know this is hard to digest, but I want you to think about when you first started something that genuinely excited you. And I mean really think about it. I can tell you from my own experience that when I started this channel, I wasn't sitting there setting timers or using focus apps. I was just thinking about it constantly. Thumbnails, scripts, guess what the next video should be, about why a certain video didn't perform the way I expected. And that constant, low-level thinking about it meant that when I sat down to actually work, the focus was already there, because my brain already had somewhere to go. If you've been watching this channel for a long time, then I can tell you are not like most people, because you also know that an average person is pathetic, and most of your friends don't even care about improving, nor do they have any big ambitions. So in most cases, people like you have this problem, and me out carefully. Your focus problem is actually not a focus problem at all. It's an interest problem. I'm repeating this, and I want you to pause this video and think about it, okay? Your focus problem is actually not a focus problem at all. It's an interest problem. And the reason it feels like a focus problem is that the advice everyone gives you is about concentration, when the real issue is that your brain has no specific target to chase. There's a difference between telling yourself you need to study and telling yourself you need to score above 90 on the test next Sunday. And that difference sounds small, but it isn't, because your brain genuinely does not care about activities. It cares about outcomes. And the more specific that outcome is, the more your attention naturally moves toward it without you having to force anything. So the practical thing here is embarrassingly simple, which is that before you start any work session, you decide on one specific outcome instead of a task or an activity. And it should be specific enough that at the end of the session, you either hit it or you didn't, with no gray area in between. And what you'll notice over time is that the sessions where you have a target like that feel completely different from the sessions where you just sit down to work, because your brain has something to actually lock onto, and once it locks on, the focus kind of takes care of itself. So basically, step 2 is to not force yourself to improve focus, because that shit doesn't work for the majority of people. If you logically think about it, then it is the same as telling a homeless person why he is broke and homeless. Just become rich and buy a home. The main point is giving your brain something worth focusing on. Let's say if you have literally no interest in playing a guitar, but your parents want you to learn it, guess what will happen? You will start to struggle to focus during music theory classes. So give your brain something worth focusing on. Protect your momentum by having one specific outcome before every single session. And over time, your brain stops treating work like a chore and starts treating it like a target it actually wants to hit. So that's the system. Step 1, protect your dopamine before it gets wrecked. And step 2, stop sitting down to work without giving your brain a specific target to chase. And if you want to take the outcome-based thinking even further, I actually created an entire guide around similar ideas specifically for studying, and the link is in the description. If you are new to this channel, then subscribe. See you in the next video.